All right, we're a minute after, so let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, TradeCentric Unboxed, Level Up Strategic Decision Making with Analytics Plus. As a reminder, you will be on mute throughout the duration of the webinar. You can drop your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, and we'll save some time to answer those at the end. A recording of our webinar will also be sent on demand. With that, I'll pass it over to Steve Frechette, Chief Product and Technology Officer at TradeCentric, to kick us off.
Great, thanks, Amanda. Welcome, everybody. Amanda, that was a mouthful, that whole TradeCentric Unboxed introduction, so kudos for getting through all that. We're going to talk through a few topics here, but if you want to advance to the agenda, Amanda, really quickly, we'll go through introductions in just a moment. They'll be very short. Then we have a few topics: PCI tokenization, updates on that front. We've got some AI news to share. I think that'll be a topic throughout. And then Analytics Plus, our new headline release offering for the Q3 release. And we'll follow that up with Q&A. So let's move ahead. And introduction. So I'm Steve Frechette, Chief Product and Technology Officer, as Amanda just introduced me. I've been with the company since, early 2024, but not a stranger to e-commerce. I came from the B2C side in the past and some supply chain startups and analytics. And I'm kind of a mutt in integration technology companies as well. So let me turn it over to Jess, star of the day.
Thanks, Chief. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Wetzel, Senior Product Manager for Analytics and UI at TradeCentric. And I've been working in B2B e-procurement for nearly 15 years now. And I first got to know TradeCentric back in the early punch-out-to-go days because I, too, am a former customer. But anyway, today I am excited to give you a quick tour of our latest product, Analytics Plus, and show you how it will impact your business.
Awesome. All right, let's keep going, Amanda. Our first topic here is PCI tokenization and encryption. Next slide. And when it comes to how we handle data, we take data security very seriously, right? Data protection and security is non-negotiable. That's the headline, right? And that's especially true for transactions between different companies and different systems, which is our business. That's what we do. Data must be protected from non-authorized access. We want to prevent data leaks. We want to prevent fraud, of course. We want to prevent business disruptions because data leaks and fraud are very disruptive. And of course, we want to prevent the reputational damage that could come from a negative data security event. So suppliers, you need to give your customers the confidence that they can trust you with their sensitive data and vice versa. So like I said, data security is non-negotiable. So next slide, please, Amanda. And getting into PCI. So we launched PCI tokenization support back in October of last year. We're consistently, meeting the security requirements of some of the largest suppliers in the world. But one of the, tools that we added back in October was this PCI support. And it's really around how do you handle that PCI data that might come into the system from buyers for purchase orders. And so you have to take very good care, strong care with that data. Before we ever store anything in our system, as soon as it hits our system, this service will tokenize or encrypt that data so that there's no potential for it leaking or getting in the, if it does end up in somebody's hands, you can't understand it and it's not useful. The buyer and the supplier can understand it because they've got the keys to decrypt it. But as the middleware provider in the center of the transaction, we want to make sure that we are never in the middle of something nefarious. So last year, when we launched this capability, we integrate with payment providers to do this, right? So depending upon the supplier's partnerships, they might have different payment providers or a payment provider that they prefer. We integrate with those payment providers and use them to do the tokenization and the basically the handoffs of the data. And that really keeps everything super secure. So last October, we integrated with Card Connect, Authorize.net, PayTrace, as you can see. And the update with this release is we add support for Stripe Epicor, and there's a standard called JSON Web Encryption, which is more of a supplier implemented tokenization and encryption protocol. And we've added support for that as well. And all of these are done based on, your feedback as customers, what payment providers you'd like us to support. So more in the works, but these are the primary ones right now. And by enabling secure transactions through PCI, for example, with flexible payment options, you can really, support a wider range of buyers, right, based on how they want to pay for your product. It helps reduce friction in transactions, and it builds the trust and reliability that's needed to really strengthen the relationships between you and your trading partners. So, like I said before, data security is non-negotiable, and we're continuing to add to our security toolkit, and PCI will continue to grow in that way. Next slide, please. All right, everybody wants to talk about AI, so we're going to talk a little bit about something new this past quarter, our AI-powered support agent. If you go ahead one. And before we get into the agent, I want to just touch briefly on our approach to AI and how we kind of see it fitting in with what we do in connected commerce. So our bottom line is that our approach is to be as intentional and purposeful with AI as possible. Our goal is not to slap the word, agent and the letters AI on everything that we do, just for the sake of, catching up or keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. We're not layering it in everywhere, right? It's not a buzzword that we're trying to chase. But we want to make sure that we're leveraging AI as a tool in the right places. And so there's 3 particular places right now. There's more, coming later, but one place that we're leveraging AI is we're building, and we have built AI tools internally to help our delivery team with the configuration and setup process of integrations. Setup is a little complicated, right? You got to communicate with the buyer, you got to communicate with the supplier, you got to understand the different systems. There might be some different standards or processes or transformations that are needed. There's always authentication challenges. So there's a little bit of work there, and humans are involved. And it's one of those places where we can leverage, and we have been leveraging AI in the past, I'd say 3 or 4 months to actually help improve the speed to integration. So that's one area, and we'll continue to invest there. Another one is not related to the current hype around Gen AI. It's more traditional AI and anomaly detection. So proactive monitoring is the use of anomaly detection to detect the patterns of certain things. And if there's some event that happens that falls outside of that pattern, alert somebody to it, because it might need attention, right? So one of the areas where we use this today is with our systems that actually run the software in production. And we're looking for, strangeness or, anomalies with regards to disk space usage or memory usage or throughput, and all kinds of really technical things that at the end of the day, if they're not addressed by the environment itself, then we need a human to actually address it before it becomes an incident in production. So we're using it there. We'll continue to do so. And then the last one is the topic, right? Smart support access. So if you jump to the next slide, please, Amanda. We're announcing our AI-powered support agent. Lots of companies are using AI with support agents, and we are getting into the fray. Ours is great, and it really helps with, for all teams, right? All supplier teams, because small delays, even the smallest of delays, can really slow down purchasing cycles, or they can hold up supplier transactions. And this new agent really helps remove that bottleneck. It helps solve that problem. It provides instant 24/7 access to answers. You can use it for troubleshooting issues. You can use it to help configure features. You can even learn more about analytics. Right? So Jess is going to talk a lot about analytics in a minute, but you're not going to remember everything, and the agent can actually give you some pretty cool insights there. So whatever it is, you won't lose, or you won't have to lose momentum by waiting in a support queue. This is always on, right? It's really cool. We've used it. I've used it. It works really well. I'm not just saying that. It's based on an accurate knowledge base, right? So we've been building our knowledge base over the past couple of years. And that knowledge base was built from the ground up. Everything's accurate, right? And it's constantly being updated. And the agent leverages that in a natural language type of interface to provide you with the best answers possible. Our own team internally uses it, right? So that's how good it is, both the knowledge base and the agent. So check it out if you're a TradeCentric customer. It's very useful and it's a great use of AI. All right, so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jess to talk about our headliner of the release, Analytics Plus. Jess?
Thank you, Steve. So I thought first, let's take a quick look at where we came from with analytics. So our customers told us that they needed a clear line of sight into their integration so they could grow their businesses and prove ROI. And TradeCentric listened and built new capabilities and modernized our platform to give customers that clarity. And the start of these capabilities launched last October when we introduced analytics. And analytics was built to improve the visibility for our customers to see how their connections were running. And this was a big step forward for customers managing their integrations day to day. And then now this month, we are continuing to build on that foundation with the release of Analytics Plus. So Analytics Plus is going to take that data, but transform it into some true insights about your program's business impacts. Okay. So in other words, analytics helps you manage, and then Analytics Plus helps you grow. And with that in mind, let's dive a little deeper into the differences between the two. Okay, so as you can see on the slide here, analytics, which many of you probably already use, gives you insights into your integration's operational health. So that means you can answer questions like, what are my delivery failure rates? And what are my transaction volumes and trends? And these are certainly critical to help you maintain the stability of your integrations, no doubt. But what makes Analytics Plus different is now you can start to understand what those numbers really mean for your business. So for example, how much revenue is at risk now because of order failures, or which trading partners are converting carts into orders the fastest. And this means you're no longer just monitoring whether your integrations are working, but you can use that data to drive measurable growth. So I thought we could jump into 4 examples that we've prepared so you can see how this works in practice. Okay, so this first example is a key capability that we're offering in this product, and it's called performance benchmarking. And this is going to allow you to compare your key metrics against benchmarks across the TradeCentric network. So that means you can see how you are stacking up relative to other integration programs. For example, in Analytics Plus, you can benchmark your performance for metrics like return cart rate or cart to order time. And you can also track how those numbers are trending over time. And what you can do with this information is if you notice that your return cart rate, for example, is significantly lower than the network average, it could signal issues like product availability. But without this context, you would not know whether it's a common challenge or a unique issue that you need to address. And of course, there is a lot of valuable business impact you can unlock with this, right? Like if you increase your return cart rates, you are reducing lost revenue and creating a better buyer experience. So directly impacts revenue for your business. The next example I wanted to go over with you guys is another area that adds tremendous value, and this is called cross-solution insights. Okay, and what this does is it's going to tell you how your punch-out activity is resulting in purchase order outcomes, because ultimately increasing order revenue is really like what we're here to do, right? Like that's the goal. So a great example I want to show you guys here is punch out to order conversion rates. We are presenting to you guys what percentage of punch out sessions are actually converting into orders. And you can also see what percentage of return carts are actually being converted into orders. And the reason we're giving you both of these insights is because they tell different stories. If sessions are not converting, that could mean customers aren't finding the products they want. But on the other hand, if return carts aren't converting into orders, that could point to something entirely different, like maybe the buyer is having challenges getting their orders approved, or it could even be an integration mapping problem, right? So the key point is you're getting this at multiple levels. You're going to get these cross-solution insights at the transaction level, so you can pinpoint specific sessions that are not converting into orders, export that list, and go re-engage those buyers and recoup that revenue, right? And at the program level, you're going to see the big picture of how all your integrations are driving business impact for you. Okay, really cool stuff. My third example I wanted to walk everyone through today is one of the most powerful features of Analytics Plus, and it's the revenue impact analysis. So think about a scenario where a bunch of buyers are placing orders through your program, but due to a system error, the POs are not actually making it through. So of course, TradeCentric is going to alert you on a case-by-case basis that these deliveries failed. But Analytics Plus goes a step further, and it's going to provide you at a glance how much revenue is tied to those undelivered purchase orders and help you prioritize fixing those highest value issues first, instead of just treating every delivery failure the same, right? So what's super nice is it's going to bring you to not only is it going to show you exactly what, where to prioritize your time, but it's also going to bring you directly to a dashboard where you can track those undelivered orders and export them. So your team is enabled to work through them at scale, okay, and resolve issues at scale. So from a business standpoint, this is obviously incredibly meaningful because it allows you to prioritize and recover the orders that matter the most, right? That are gonna make the biggest impact for you guys. All right, and finally, the last example I wanted to highlight today is trading partner segmentation. This feature allows you to quickly see things like when trading partners were added to your program and how frequently they are using those integrations and how quickly they are converting their carts into orders. And this matters because getting a partner connected is only half the battle, as we know. The real value is going to come when they use that integration, when they're driving transactions and delivering ROI. So you can use this information to reach out to a buyer who you onboarded a couple months ago, but they still haven't started using it. Or you could actually use this information to monitor things like delivery rate by a partner. And this is going to help you ensure that one integrations issue is not impacting all the other ones. So either way, it's going to give you a chance to step in with targeted support, ensure adoption, and protect the investments that you've made in your integration program. Okay. So those are just 4 of the use cases for Analytics Plus, but it also offers a ton of other useful features, such as success rate by trading partner, expanded transaction data, and error visibility, which I know a lot of people have asked for. High impact transaction highlights, going to highlight those high impact transactions for you. It's going to give you a summary of your contribution by currency. I mean, just to name a few. Okay. So if you are curious to see it in action for your own business, reach out to us for a demo, and you can explore the possibilities using your own data. We'd love to hear your feedback and how it benefits your integration program. And now with that, I'll turn it over to Amanda to lead us through Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve and Jessica, for showcasing all of the wonderful new features in this quarter's product release. So we've got a few questions from the audience, so let's dive right in. First question, are there any restrictions in the trial for Analytics Plus?
No, you get full access to all Analytics Plus features and during the free trial, and nothing is held back at all. The only limitation is that the trial includes the last 30 days of data. So once you purchase Analytics Plus, that's when you'll unlock the full historical data set. But during the trial, you can experience everything the product can do just on a shorter time horizon. And just as everybody knows, is that if you are a customer right now with TradeCentric and you use punch out or purchase order, you subscribe to punch out or purchase order automation, you already have access to a 30-day free trial. You don't have to do anything. So just log in today and start using it. And we'd love for you to try it out and let me know how you like it. And the trial ends on September 18th.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. All right, another question related to Analytics Plus. Is it available today? Which I believe you just answered. For current customers, feel free to log in and start poking around with it now.
Yep, and it's live and available today.
All right, and then we have another question. Steve, I believe this one is best suited for you. Is there anything else you can share about your AI roadmap?
Ooh, that's a big one. But yeah, there's a few things. So first, let me just reiterate the intentional approach that I talked about earlier. I think that's really important to revisit for a couple of reasons. One, we won't compromise on security, right? And the other one is we won't compromise on accuracy. And we've thought, pretty hard about this. So security is obvious, right? But with a lot of the major AI vendors, think about OpenAI and Perplexity, et cetera, they build their LLMs based on data. And we have to be absolutely certain that our suppliers' data, their trading partners' data, doesn't end up in their training set, right? So security is really paramount. So that's a key thing. The other thing is accuracy. We all know, we've all had the experience of working with ChatGPT or plug in your favorite chat tool, and you ask it for some information, or you ask it a question, you give it some instructions. Today, you ask it the same thing an hour later or the day later, and you get a different answer, right? And we can't afford that, right? We're in the business of transacting, business transactions, and we can't have variability in answer quality or answer consistency. So that's super important. We have a system that, just to build on that, we have a system that's deterministic, which means that we configure it to, when it sees input X, it produces output Y. So every time it sees X, it's going to produce Y. And that reliability and accuracy is important. That's what our suppliers rely on. That's what buyers rely on, whether it's return cart data, purchase order data, invoice data, right? With the Gen AI applications that exist, those are not deterministic, they're probabilistic. They're based on the probability of an outcome, which is why you see variance from answer to answer, right, on different times. And we can't have that, right? It's just super important that we're deterministic. So B2B, like the integration part itself, where we're transmitting data from one side to the other, that has to be accurate 100% of the time. And if we want to use AI, we could, right? We could agentify the whole thing, but then we would need to put humans back in the loop. And our whole business is to take humans out of the loop. We're already there, right? So we're not going to go backwards. So AI is not a great solution for the integration part. All right, so that's the soapbox part. You asked about the roadmap, right? So where would AI be used? Where are we thinking of using it? I already touched on accelerating integration, right? There's a lot of chatter, right, between a supplier and TradeCentric's delivery team, and between the buyer and TradeCentric's delivery team, and the supplier and the buyer, all in that like requirements discovery phase, setting up systems, testing, etc. It's a very human-centric problem, right? And that's a great area for an opportunity area for AI. So that's one area, hint, okay? Another one that I didn't touch on yet is analytics, in particular search, right? So we've spent, 2 years building analytics and now Analytics Plus, and they're highly curated KPIs and dashboards and charts. Lots of rich information there. But now, okay, unless you're super familiar with it, you might get a little confused about where you can find answers. So AI search can, potentially help out in that problem set. And the last one is probably a big question. What about Gen AI punch out, or AI or agentic punch out? And I think it's a legitimate question, right? As to whether or not a chat-like punch out session or shopping and cart session could be driven entirely from within the ePro system. And it's something that we've actually prototyped, right? Because we're trying to learn and understand where the boundaries are and where we might be able to innovate. I'm not convinced that a completely 100% conversational chat session to purchase product is going to be or to configure your cart and return it is going to be the preferred user experience for buyers. And I'm pretty sure that suppliers wouldn't want that for their buyers anyway, right? You want to control, you want to deliver the best possible experience. So, but we're experimenting. We think that there are some valid use cases, and there's a really important role that we can play in helping reduce the integration complexity, because there will still be complexity even with agents, right? So that's another area that we're looking at. Can't get into super detail on that one, but hopefully, I think I gave a few examples there. That gives you an idea of where our head is at, how we're thinking about it, and what might be coming down the road. That was a mouthful. Sorry, Amanda. Probably more than you wanted.
No, that was great. AI is such a rapidly evolving space, so appreciate your insights on how TradeCentric is leveraging it. We've got another question related to Analytics Plus, and Jess, I'll direct this one to you. What does Plus cost after the trial ends?
Oh, that's a great question. Analytics Plus is priced based on how many trading partners you have. So if you reach out to your customer success manager, if you're interested, they can prepare a quote for you based off of your program.
Yeah, it's not entirely custom pricing, but yeah, reach out to your rep and you'll get a firm quote.
Awesome.
It scales, as Jess said, based on number of trading partners. It scales in your favor.
Yeah.
Right. So the more partners you have, the less it costs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for that. All right. We got another question. Are the Analytics Plus reporting capabilities limited by which services suppliers have enabled with TradeCentric? Example, if we only have Punch-Out enabled, will we have limited analysis available as a result?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. So yes, if you have an Punch-Out enabled, then you will have access to the Punch-Out related dashboards. And then if you want to get that deeper analysis, like cross-solution insights from Punch-Out session to a purchase order has happened, then you would need to enable the purchase order automation piece of it, so we could pull those together for you.
All right. Those are all of our questions, and we're just about at the half-hour mark. Oh, we just got another one come in. Let's see. It says, on the demo, some of the drop-down items are grayed out. Is this expected during the trial period?
No, it is not expected during the trial period, but it's going to sound like, the typical IT answer is you need to log out and log back in to get the permissions working for you. So sorry about that, typical IT answer. And then we're working on to make sure that you don't have to do that in the future.
All right, but good to see that people are logging in and already looking to explore Analytics Plus. All right, well, those are all of our questions. If you guys have any other questions about Analytics Plus, I've dropped the links to connect with Steve and Jessica on LinkedIn, so make sure to connect with them or reach out to your customer success manager if you're a current customer, and they'll be able to answer any questions that you have as well. And with that, thank you to Steve and Jessica for your insights, and thank you to our audience for attending today's webinar. Again, if you'd like to discuss more, feel free to connect with our panelists via LinkedIn or your CSM. And everybody have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.